Hello and welcome back, students. This is a class of Illumination Engineering. Here in this video, we are going to study about a completely new phenomena of light. A completely new phenomena that we are going to study in Illumination Engineering, and it is known as photometry. So before we see about different principles, different properties, different laws of photometry, let us first know what photometry is. So what is light? If I ask you what is light, as we all know, it is a form of energy. Light is nothing but a form of energy. And how light interact with matter? Matter react to the light either by absorbing it or by emitting it, either by absorption or by reflection, right? Here, energy is inversely related to wavelength. We know E equals to h nu, whereas nu equals to 1 by lambda. Lambda is the wavelength. So we can say energy is inversely proportional to the wavelength. This is the first thing we need to keep in our mind before we go for photometry. Now emission process. What is emission process? When electron return to ground state, the energy is dissipated as radiant energy. And this is nothing but the emission process. Now this emission process is used in flame photometry and fluorometric methods. Absorption spectroscopy. I0 impinging on and passing through a square cell. Here you can see an object absorption, where absorption takes place. Light falls into the object and a light comes out through a square cell that contains solution of compound that absorb radiant energy of certain wavelength. The intensity Is is less than I0. So I0 is one intensity and Is is another intensity. The transmittance in solution is defined as proportion of the incident light that is transmitted. So T will be equals to Is by I0. Is is the intensity which is lesser than I0. As the concentration of the compound in solution increases more, the light is absorbed by the solution and less is the light transmitted. So we can say whenever the light is passing through a concentrated solution, it will absorb more light. Right here in this graph, you can see with the increase of concentration, absorption will increase. And with the increase of concentration, percentage transmittance will be decreasing. So these are the two relations of absorption and transmission with concentration. Here we can have this equation where transmittance is again IE by I0. And if we take the percentage in both way, so percentage T will be IE by I0 into 100%. Now, A equals to, we know, minus log 10. So TA will be log and 1 by T will be, to convert T into percentage. We have done this percentage multiplication and the ultimate formula becomes A equals to 2 minus log of percentage T. Now laws of light absorption, Beer's law. It's very, very discussed law in kinds of photometry. So what does Beer's law state? The concentration of substance is directly proportional to the amount of light absorbed or inversely proportional to the logarithm of the transmitted light. So again, it's dealing with concentration of the substance. And what does it say? That the amount of light absorbed will be directly proportional to the concentration, or the transmitted light will be the log of transmitted light will be inversely proportional to the concentration of the substance. Here in this graph, we can see the same version of the statement where the concentration gets increased, the absorption gets increases, and when the concentration gets increased, the transmittance gets decreases. So these are the graphical representation of Beer's law. If it comes in your exam, you have to write down the theorem as well as the graphical representation. Now, when a ray of monochromatic light passes through an absorbing medium, its intensity decreases exponentially as the length of the light path through light absorbing material increases. So Lambert's law. Lambert's law here, and light of intensity I0 falls into an absorbing sample of concentration C, and another light comes out with an intensity of I. If the path length is B, then because of linear relationship between absorbance and concentration, it is possible to relate unknown concentration to single standard by a simple proportional equation, where we can write AS by AU equal to CS by CU. And from that we can write CU equal to AU into CS by AS. So concentration of test solution, it can be written as absorbance of test solution into concentration of standard solution divided by absorbance of standard solution. Similarly, concentration of test solution by 100 ml equal to absorbance of test into concentration of standard into 100 divided by absorbance of standard. So this is the standard formula where CT equal to AT into CS divided by AS. Same thing is being discussed over here, concentration of test and in 100 ml. Now what are the limitations? Very elevated concentration cannot be measured through this process. Incident radiant energy is not monochromatic. Solvent absorption is significant compared to solute absorbance. Radiant energy is transmitted by other mechanism, and the sides of the cell are not parallel. So these are the limitation of this process. Now note on stray light. What is stray light? It is a radiant energy that reaches the detector at wavelength other than those indicated by monochromator setting. All radiant energy that reaches detector with or without having passed through the sample is recorded. As the amount of stray light increases, deviation from the Beer's law also increases. So here we need to know first what is a stray light. See in this figure, light from light source, a light is being emitting, and now it's entrance slit. This is an entrance slit from which it falls into a monochromator. Again, from monochromator, it gets exit from the exit slit, and then through detector meter, this is being detected. Now all radiant energy that reaches detector with or without having passed through the sample is recorded, and as the amount of stray light increases, deviation also increases. Now it can be due to light leaks which excluded by covering cell compartment, fluorescence that increases signal to the detector and causes apparent decreases in absorption. Most spectrometers are equipped with stray light filters. Now spectrometer definition. Here are some definitions that we need to understand. First is photometer. What is photometer? If a filter is used as a wavelength selector, monochromatic light at only discrete wavelength is available and the instrument is called photometer. This is photometer. Now what is spectrophotometer? If a monochromator is used, it may be a prism or a grating as a wavelength selector. The instrument can provide monochromatic light over a continuous range of wavelength and is called spectrophotometer. So these are the two definitions that you have to remember. One is photometer, another is spectrophotometer. So what are the different types of spectrophotometer? It may be single beam, it may be double beam in space, it may be double beam in time, and multi-channel. Now what are the components? The whole figure explains the component of spectrophotometer. See, from light source, light is being emitted, and from entrance slit, it falls on a prism or grating, from which it's a monochromator, and from there it deviates into different color, and from the exit slit it falls on the sample and then on the detector. The whole process is the spectrophotometer. Now source. What are the different types of source that may be for spectrophotometer? That may be tungsten filament lamp for continuous spectrum, tungsten iodide lamp for visible and near ultra voltage spectrum, hydrogen and deuterium discharge lamp for continuous ultra voltage ray, mercury vapor lamp for discontinuous or line spectrum, light emitting diodes for two types of semiconductors. Now entrance slit focuses light on grating or prism where it can be dispersed with minimum stray light. What is entrance slit? See here, this is mentioned with a green dot. This is the entrance slit. Now what is the purpose of this entrance slit? It focuses the light on grating or prism. Wavelength selector. For isolation of a required wavelength or range of wavelength. Now wavelength selector may be of two types, filters or monochromators. Filters consist of only a material that selectively transmits the desired wavelength and absorbs the rest. Those selective transmission characteristics, glass and Ratten filter. And monochromators, those based on the principle of interference. These may be simple, wide wavelength and non-adjustable. See, interference filter has been shown over here with different wavelength. Okay, next is monochromators. A grating or prism disperses radiate energy from the source lamp into a spectrum from which the desired wavelength is isolated by mechanical slits. Now, prism is used for nonlinear dispersion, grating for linear dispersion. Prism. Less linear over lower wavelength of 550 nanometer. Give only one order of emerging spectrum, thus provide higher optical efficiency. Therefore, 3 wavelength checks are required. Grating linear dispersion can be done, therefore only 2 wavelength checks required to certify accuracy. Now exit slit determines the bandwidth of light that will be selected from the dispersed spectrum. Cuvette or cell. It's a receptacle for sample. Optical, the thing where the sample is being kept. Optical property depends on composition and calibrated to path length 1 centimeter. Next is photodetector. A device that converts light into an electric signal that is proportional to the number of photons striking its photosensitive surface. So what are the different components that we have studied till now? First is light source, then entrance slit, then monochromator, then exit slit, then cuvette, and next is detector. Photodetectors, these may be photomultiplier tubes, photodiodes, charged coupled device. Now the property of ideal detector, they should be high sensitivity, high signal or noise. This constant response for any wavelength and first response in time. Now photomultiplier tube. Photodetectors may be of three types: photomultiplier tube, photodiodes, and charged coupled devices. The figure shown over here is the photomultiplier tube, an electron tube that is capable of significantly amplifying a current. Whenever a minimum amount of current is getting over a spectrophotometer, we need to use photomultiplier tubes. Photodiodes, semiconductors that change their voltage upon being struck by light. Change is converted to current and measured. And the last one is charged coupled devices. Solid phase devices that are made of small silicon cells. Electron released is captured and quantified. Last one is readout device. Electric energy from detector is displayed on a meter or display system. So this is the last part, readout device. Now double beam spectrophotometer. The previous one was single beam. Double beam designed to compensate for possible variations in intensity of light source. It's accomplished by splitting the light beam. See, the double beam in space instrument is being here, and in time instrument it's also shown over here. It's much more complex than single spectrophotometer, but it's very much advantageous. Advantage of double beam over a single: compensate for variations in the source intensity, compensate for drift in the detector and amplifier, compensate for variation in intensity as a function of wavelength. So these are the advantages of a double beam. Now, multi-channel instruments. Multi-channel instruments able to scan an entire spectrum in approximate 0.1 second. Its high throughput of radiant energy due to minimal optics, and use a deuterium lamp source for a spectral range of 200 nanometer to 820 nanometer and have a spectral bandwidth of 2 nanometer. It's much more advantageous than double beam or single beam spectrophotometer. Now, what are the differences between colorimeters and spectrophotometer? In colorimeters, light measurement only in visible region, but in spectrophotometer, UV and visible and infrared can be measured. Here filters are used, here diffraction gratings or prismer can be used. In colorimeters, can choose only a bandwidth of wavelength, only colored solutions can be measured. In spectrophotometer, can choose exact wavelength, colorless solution can also be measured. Here absorbance is less accurate, here absorbance is more accurate. Kinetic studies and spectrum can be better studied. Quality control check for spectrophotometer. Wavelength accuracy. Mercury vapor lamp, deuterium lamp for strong emission lines. Holmium oxide for strong absorption lines. Linearity of detector response, solutions of varying concentration of compounds. Example, OxyHb at 415 nanometer, cobalt ammonium sulfate at 512 nanometer. Stray radiation by lithium carbonate below 250 nanometer, sodium bromine below 240 nanometer. And photometric accuracy, potassium dichromate solution, cobalt ammonium sulfate solution. NIST, formerly NBS, provide the SRM useful for calibration or verification of performance of the instrument. Now, wavelength calibration. How wavelength can be calibrated in spectrophotometer? Satisfactory if it's close to lambda max of chromosome and if it is reproducible. H and DU lamp have built-in sources of checking accuracy. Prism and gratings, continuous choice of lambda. Rare earth glass-like filters like holmium oxide and titanium, narrow and wide spectral bandwidths. This is the holmium oxide with 280 to 360 nanometer, shows sharp absorption peaks at defined lambda. Another method is by use of solutions. Now, what are the disadvantages? Absorption peaks are broad and causes spectral shifts due to contamination, aging, or preparation error. Now, these are the disadvantages of absorption peaks. Second is spatial bandwidth. Here, mercury vapor lamp that shows a number of sharp, well-defined emission lines with 250 to 580 nanometer. It can be calculated from manufacturer specification. An interference filter 1 to 2 nanometer are available and can be used to check spectral bandwidth of 8 nanometer or more. Stray radiation, it increases at extreme ends of spectral range where detector response is lowest. Methods to detect. Filters or solution that is highly transmitting over a portion of the spectrum but opaque below an abrupt cutoff lambda. These are the examples. Stray light can also be due to light leaks, which excluded by covering cell compartment, fluorescence that increases the signal to the detector and causes apparent decrease in absorption. Most spectrophotometers are equipped with stray light filters. Blue filters, it's used with tungsten lamp for wavelength below 400 nanometer. Red filter for lambda range 650 to 800 nanometer. Spectrophotometer set to 350 nanometer. Stray light visible range absorbed by the blue filter transmits ultraviolet portion of spectrum. If solution by filters transmitting no radiant energy at measurement lambda, then measured T will be amount of stray light. If stray light is greater than 1%, then instrument will malfunction. Liquid cutoff filter ultraviolet range where there is more stray light problem. Linearity. Spectrophotometer should exhibit a linear relationship between radiant energy absorbed and readout. Solid glass may be used for the above. Common method, use of solution of varying concentration of compound following Beer's law. What are the disadvantages? Dilution error, stability problem, shifts in pH and temperature effects. Photometric accuracy, absorbance standard, constant stable absorption with no variation to spectral bandwidth or light beam. Set of 3 neutral density glass filters with known absorption at 4 lambda for each filter. They are not always stable, need recalibration by NIST periodically. Standards for checking accuracy, potassium dichromate, cobalt and sulfate and nitrate solution. Multiple wavelength reading. Background interference minimum by including blank or taking absorption at 2 to 3 lambda. Bichromatic absorption is measured at 2 lambda corresponds to peak A at a point at the base of the peak serves as baseline. Another method to correct background interference, measure A at 2 lambda equidistant from peak and lateral is averaged to get a baseline, and that's subtracted from the peak A. In case of spectral overlap, extinction coefficient of each component at each lambda should be known. Example in blood Hb, red Hb, oxy Hb, carboxy Hb, meth Hb, sulfate Hb. External coefficient is known as the matrix equation, can be set up to calculate each component. Principle used in oximeters. Now, what are the application of spectrophotometer? Visible spectrophotometer application is NAGIN, pyridoxine, vitamin B12, metal determination, fat quality determination, enzyme activity, etc. UV spectrophotometer application, protein, amino acid, pantothenic acid, glucose determination, enzyme activity. So this is all about photometer. Here you have a detailed study of spectrophotometer. Here you have a detailed study of single beam photometer, double beam photometer, multi-beam photometer. So this is completely a new one. Go through the video, go through more and more references. If you wish to know this in a depth way. For exam point of view, a short note will come from this part. Define photometer or kind of that. So thank you students. Thank you very much for seeing this video.